mornings. Forgot the lessons. We abused our power. We played with genetics like it was a toy. We weren't careful. And now, here we are. This is a very different world.
Hello everyone and welcome to the first monthly Spotlight Jurassic World Evolution 2 monthly Spotlight stream here on Frontier Development's Twitch channel and on the Jurassic World Evolution 2 YouTube channel. My name is Jens Erik. I am part of the community team here at Frontier, and today we're going to be talking a bit about some of the stuff that we've announced and revealed and all that good stuff during the month of June. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here. And to do that with me, I have Rich Newbold.
Hey everyone.
How you doing, Rich?
I'm great.
Yeah?
Tired, excited.
Yeah.
It's been a month.
It's definitely been a month. Yeah. Anything new happen to you recently?
I learned a new way to cook noodles.
Yeah.
That's about it, really.
Yeah, a lot of noodles in your life.
A small amount.
Yeah.
Reasonable amount of noodles. Yeah.
Noodles and dinosaurs, that's how it goes.
Oh, dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly.
We did a thing, we announced a game.
We did announce a game, and it's been incredibly exciting. I've been chomping at the bit to I guess use a bit of a dinosaur phrase to put Jurassic World Evolution 2 out.
He really has, like, up until the announcement. I can't wait to tell people.
Yeah, because it's in, we've been working on all this stuff behind the scenes for a while, and then suddenly it's out there in the world, and we can finally talk about it. We can tell people, hey, this thing we made, it's coming, and it's coming later this year, and we're very excited about it. All right, so as you probably can guess from the title of this stream, we'll be showcasing and discussing some of the news and announcements from the past month. We might also be discussing and showing something new here and then, but we just wanted to let you know that these streams will continue at the end of every month, aiming for the last Friday of every month as a sort of a way for the community to come together and celebrate some of the things that we have talked about, revealed, announced, all that stuff. There's not going to be live gameplay on these streams, but you'll get to see trailers, you'll get to see maybe some behind-the-scenes videos, some screenshots, sometimes some work-in-progress assets we will see, maybe also some gameplay footage depending on what we have, what we've shown you guys in the past month. Because we want to give you guys a glimpse of what's been happening behind the scenes, meet some of the developers, talk about the game, have a little fun, celebrate Jurassic World Evolution 2 as we move closer and closer and closer to launch. But yeah, so it's been I'm just really excited to be here. So let's start off with you, Rich. I'm assuming a lot of our audience already know who you are. But for those of you who don't know, why don't you introduce yourself?
So I'm Rich Newbold. I'm the game director of Jurassic World Evolution 2. So, and I just want to clarify, I just love the 5 deaths. This is just a nice T-shirt that I like.
It's just a T-shirt.
It's just a T-shirt. It's not a tease for anything. I just really love the first game. I love working on it and the Switch version, and I thought it's a great themed T-shirt for what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And my other one is a Jurassic Park one that says I'm like Grumpasaurus, and I was like, that feels a bit too dour for this one. I thought it's an exciting stream, so I thought, yeah.
Nugget Boy Keon says, "Tell Rich I love his shirt." So there's people have already noticed it, and I can't wait to see all the discussion forum comments later on saying,
yeah, we just wanted to cut it off early.
Was he trying to tease something?
No, it's just
a t-shirt. But Rich is a pretty snappy dresser, I'd say. So
no one has ever said that ever. Thank you though.
You're welcome. I was planning on buying a shirt with like 4 different types of dinosaurs, with a really fat one that says "Om Nom Nomnivore."
That's pretty cool.
But unfortunately, I wasn't able to buy it in time. But maybe next time. So today we're going to cover Summer Games Fest. We're going to cover the announcement. We're going to talk a bit about the species field guides that have come up, talk a bit about some of the dinosaurs we've revealed so far, some game mechanics, and discuss the feature focus that went out earlier this week, which was about dinosaur acquisition and management. So Summer Games Fest, it happened 2.5 weeks ago.
Is that all?
Yes. It is literally that old. What is time anymore?
It's just
in the year of our
when
Lord,
you
2021.
finally announce something that you're so excited about, and then everything that's been coming after that, it's just been non-stop, just excitement and showing people new stuff, and every day it's just been just a great moment of, okay, what else is there to be excited about? What else are we sharing? And it's just been great. And Summer Games Fest was the first moment of that, and it was great to finally tell everyone.
Yeah. So we announced during Summer Games Fest with a little help from Jeff Keighley and of course the legend Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I was grinning the entire time as it was happening, just one from finally being able to put it out into the world, but also just having help from Jeff Goldblum to share the stuff. How did you find the announcement? How was it for you? Were you?
It was incredibly stressful and exciting. I was in a VO session at that time. I was in a VO session with one of our talent, and we managed to do the break just at the right time. So everyone in the VO session and the person doing the VO, we all stopped and watched it together. And it was just such a great moment for everyone to get together and celebrate. Like, we're announcing something. We're announcing it right now. The thing we're working on. Yeah. We're announcing it now, and it was just great. And it was also great to see all the reaction afterwards as well.
And then you just slapped your hands together and said, "Right, back to work, everyone."
Basically, it was very much
back to the VO session.
We still have 2 more hours to go. We have a lot of content to record. Can we get back to it? It was great to have Jeff. He's just amazing.
He seems like a really amazing guy. He seems like a guy who just lives life to the fullest, as well, as much as he possibly can. Like, you can sort of see that in the announcement as well. So let's shift the focus a bit to some of the things that players can expect in Jurassic World Evolution 2. So there's a lot of information out there. Some of it comes from us, and some of it comes from places like Game Informer and GameSpot, because you gave them a bit of a preview of the game earlier. But let's try to cover what we can. So what are the 4 main areas that we've been focusing on for Jurassic World Evolution 2?
So Jurassic World Evolution 2 is a dinosaur management simulation game. I'm going to assume most of you know this. Just want to double check. And for the sequel, we were so proud of the great success that the first game had. And with the sequel, we wanted to kind of build on the foundations of that. So we focused the sequel on 4 key areas. So one of them is our authentic narrative. So we really wanted to really push the narrative aspects of the sequel compared to the first game. And we've written an original story set after the events of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. We've got enhanced creativity. So we've been really working on all the aspects of creativity that you as players have in your park. So really adding more extra tools and opportunities for you to really customize those things and build those parks of your dreams. Deeper management. So it's a management game. We wanted to add a lot more levers and a lot more things that the player's doing whilst they're managing their parks. When it comes to the guests, the dinosaurs, building that park, managing that park, and dealing with the moment-to-moment aspects of running a dinosaur theme park and things going wrong, and dealing with that, and park teams and things like that. And then the last one was realistic dinosaurs. And
of course.
We've been working really hard on that. We have over 75 different prehistoric species. and we've been working really hard on a lot more depth in their behaviours, in the way they move around your landscapes and environments, how they interact with each other and the other things. So kind of everything we do in the game should be pushing one of those 4 things, at least one of those 4 things. And these kind of 4 pillars help keep us honest about, okay, the thing that we want to add to the game, how much is it pushing those things? Is it making the dinosaurs more realistic? Is it authentic to the narrative? You know, we don't have characters doing things that can be out of character. The creativity, making sure that anything we add is pushing that enhanced creativity. So we use them as like a thing just to keep us honest and make sure that everything we're doing is pushing one of those things forward as much as possible. And yeah, we're really proud of what we've been doing.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously I've have some access to, builds and everything, and I've been having a lot of fun play testing some of the stuff on my own as well. What's it been like returning to Jurassic World Evolution? Because we did the first game, and now we're doing the sequel. Is it like it's putting on a pair of comfortable shoes, or is it just like, all right, brand new jacket, breaking it in? It's a bit stiff, but we're going to get to it.
For me, I've been working on the Jurassic World Evolution franchise for a long time now, for many years. I did the first game, the PDLCs, we did the complete edition on Switch, and then the sequel as well. So I've just been constantly, and I'm not going to say it just as it's cliche. For me, it is an evolution of what I'm working on all the time. I do something, we do something. Okay, we get it to a position. Okay, how can we build on that? And that's what it's been for me anyway. There's some new faces on the team as well that are kind of joined just for the sequel. And they probably see things in a different perspective. But for me, it's constant iteration. It's, okay, with the first game in the PDLCs, we kind of put this big marker in the sand. Okay, right, we want the leap to be really big because we're a sequel. So everything has to be a big leap in improvements. We're not talking about small incremental stuff now. We want everything to be a big improvement. And that's the kind of way we've been looking at a lot of the features we've been designing as well, just making sure that there's a really big improvement. So it really feels that we had a good foundation, but what we've got is now just so much better.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned the narrative, and what can you tell us about the narrative of the game?
So we have a campaign mode, one of our 4 game modes, and it's a new story. It's an original story. It's set after the events of Fallen Kingdom. For those of you that haven't seen the film, I'm assuming again you've all seen.
Spoilers.
Yeah, can you spoil? There's dinosaurs in it. They're now.
No, really, there's dinosaurs in a Jurassic World movie? Who would have thought?
Just to be clear, that's a spoiler. But now they're not confined to the islands of which they are normally based. So they're now out in the wild. I'm not going to tell you how that happened. In which case, keep that bit free from spoilers. But now the player in Jurassic World Evolution 2 is going to be in a story dealing with that crisis. They're going to be working alongside characters that are from the film returning again. We have Bryce Dallas Howard return as Claire Dearing, kind of building facilities to deal with that problem. So we've nuanced some of the gameplay a bit, because the first game was about building these theme parks, building these greatest attractions the world's ever seen, building these theme parks on the 5 deaths. But we've nuanced the gameplay a bit because it's now more facility based. It's more about dinosaur welfare. It's them being out in the wild. So in that mode, there's like a slight change in what the player's doing, but they're still building facilities, building parks, but kind of more dinosaur focused in that regard. Yeah. And that's been kind of one of the big ways that we've been improving the narrative is this original story, and it just fits perfectly after the events of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
As you mentioned, Jeff Goldblum is back, and Bryce Dallas Howard is back. What's it been like working with them on this narrative compared to the first game? It's
amazing. They know their characters so well. So when we write something, we work with a writer, John Platten. We work with Universal to make sure that we're authentic to those characters from their point of view, writing this story, and they will then come into the VO sessions with the scripts that we've written, and it's a very collaborative aspect. We've written stuff. John is very good at writing these characters, but then when we get them into the sessions, they're really working on bringing what they know from those characters as well. So it's just amazing to work with them. And for someone like Bryce, she did it the first game. She came back again, and she's like, "Yeah, hey guys," and she just went straight back into it, and it was really easy for her. And she's been phenomenal to work with. And as you say, Jeff is a great personality. He's really good at playing Ian Malcolm. He brings a bit of himself to it as well, and it's just amazing.
I got to say, it's been very weird hearing you refer to them as Jeff and Bryce.
Oh yeah, we're like BFFs now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just very. I don't know. For me, they're still, they're celebrities. They're still like sort of out there, external people that I don't know. So
I think they still are for me. But I've had, I spent many hours with them doing VO, and there's a small amount of familiarity that allows me to feel more comfortable saying
Sure.
it. But yeah, they still are. It's still Jeff Goldman. It's still Bryce Dallas Howard. It's still an amazing. They're still amazing people that I'm probably never going to casually talk to. Probably in a coffee shop or something. But like, it's still just been great to work with.
Why not use the opportunity when you have it to try to be more friendly with them and try to use their first names. It was interesting around the when we were building up to the announcement, because then you had to differentiate which Jeff you were talking to, if it was Jeff Keighley
So many confusing
or Jeff
conversations.
Goldman. Many different. So Jeff 1 and Jeff 2, I guess we could have started calling them. But yeah, are there any other familiar characters that players can expect? I know our Reddit audience has been very worried about Cabot Finch. There was a whole thread.
Do not worry about
asking
Cabot.
about the
He's
status.
back. We love Cabot. Like the dev team and John, the writer, we love Cabot. We love writing for him. And Graham, who plays his voice, who does his voice, is so good at that character. And between John and Graham, they've brought to life such an amazing character that we really love. And he's definitely going to be back. He's definitely alive. He's definitely going to be, making a joke and then being like, no, I'm being serious. And then he's still going to make jokes. He's just such an amazing character, and we love him. And we've been working hard to balance the amount of Cabotness he is, because sometimes he can go very Cabot, but we just want to bring it back a bit, just so that he's very additive to the experience. It just gives you that nice kind of humor break from. Dinosaurs are eating people. I need to deal with this problem, but Cabot's there, be like, "Hey, why are you not making me money?" Like,
dinosaurs are eating people. That's going to be bad for business.
yeah,
like that.
but like it's trying to get the balance. But yeah, we just love Cabot, so he's back. Do not worry.
Timbo Jimbo says yes, Cabot, and
I think he's had like 3 divorces between the first game and this game. But yeah, and that's been. We've been working hard to kind of bring in the characters from the first game in a way that really fits the original story. So even though Cabot isn't he's not a film character, he's an original character by us, he works alongside those film characters in the story as well. So he fits seamlessly into the universe as though he would have been a film character, but he's not. He's ours.
Yeah.
It just works with the characters from the films, and it's great to have that interaction.
I think it's really fun to have that sort of slightly cynical, snarky businessman perspective that he has compared to Ian Malcolm, who's all about the chaos theory and these dinosaurs will break out and you're trying to contain things that you can't contain. And Claire Dearing is all about conservation and all about keeping them safe and everything. I think it's a nice pillar of different.
We've worked hard to try and make sure that all the original characters, all of the frontier characters, fit. As they offer something diverse and different compared to the film characters as well. The film characters are great characters, but sometimes you need a bit of snark in there that's different. It's more about money or making reference to his divorce and all that stuff. It's just been great to just have that kind of stuff in. But yeah.
Immense Raptor had actually a good question. What time frame are we experiencing between the 2 games? Does 2 take place X amount after the first one?
It's fuzzy because in that it's probably 5-10 years, because the first game again is like a sideways canon. Was a sideways canon. Obviously, no one ever goes back to Pena and builds a theme park. So, but in our game, you did. That was the idea. That was the fiction of that one. But in this, we those things kind of happened they still happened.
Right.
The player kind of did that, and the characters were there with you. But obviously in the films that never happened. So we've kind of melded the 2 universes together. So it's our original story set after Fallen Kingdom, but we've also brought our original characters from the first game. It's they do make some reference to the stuff they did in the 5 deaths and their roles in that game as well. So it was a challenge, but it fits really well. So because we're a sequel to the game, but we're also an original story to the film as well. So we've just tried to meld those together really.
Sounds like it sounds like an interesting process and a bit of a challenge, of course. But it's probably a challenge that's you're able to overcome with a bit of work.
That's what writing scripts is
Exactly,
all about. We need to
about.
solve this problem. Let's just write the problem. No, we've solved the problem with writing it.
So let's switch tracks a little bit and talk about the different game modes. So there's 4 different game modes.
That's right. So the campaign mode, I've been through that one. That's the original story. That is with the players kind of dealing with these dinosaurs now out in the wild. We have Chaos Theory mode, which is another narrative mode, which is about the player going back to key moments from the films, the film franchise's history, but with a twist. I think we're going to talk more about that in the next few months as we get closer to launch. Challenge mode. So that's the kind of the classic challenge mode, testing the player's ability to build parks. We've worked hard on trying to make that a bit more interesting and a bit more different. So there's going to be different parts of that challenge mode, and then sandbox mode. Be creative, and those are the 4 game modes, and we've been working hard to make sure that each one has a lot of depth and replayability, and can be lots of fun.
Definitely, I have been messing around in sandbox mode for a little bit, and I've had a lot of fun with it, trying to make something that looks a bit out there, but also a bit, like a traditional dinosaur park.
I'm very, very much that cliche developer that is really bad at making anything pretty in my game.
Oh, me too, 100%. I am when I started working on the first game about a year ago, I was consistently blown away about all the things that our community was able to make with just the simple sandbox tools that we have in the first game. So I'm very excited to see what they do with the sequel.
I've had that across all the games I've been a part of that have been creative. I'm like, I have no real artistic creative bones. I've been watching Planet Coaster and I worked on that. I was like, I could never make these pretty things. And even this, I'm like, pretty parks. I'm like, I can make something. Like my path placement, I'm like, yeah, just go from A to B, like dunk, 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 dunk. I'm like, could be smooth. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Just the fences.
Grids. It's all grids.
No, I'm just like, the fences are just like really weird angular things. Oh, that's fine.
So out of the 4 modes, which one's been your favorite so far, if you have a favorite?
I love all of my children equally, but I really enjoy challenge mode. It's always been the one that the mode that appeals to me most, because that's how I like to play the games. I like to challenge myself to get to 5 stars as fast as possible with the different difficulties, and that's always the thing I like to do. I always like to race against time and do that kind of stuff. So that's always been the mode that I would gravitate towards naturally. But I've loved developing and making all of the modes and putting so much love and attention to, so that no matter how you as a player will play them, there's always something that's going to be really enjoyable. So if you want to play the campaign or the chaos or something, then there's going to be lots there for you as well. Yeah,
I'm personally very excited to see how people respond to chaos theory when we sort of reveal what all that thing is about beyond what we've said already. I think, I mean, there's some speculation out there already, and I'm sitting there just sort of rubbing my hands together a little bit, knowing what's real and what isn't.
It might seem we're just being really mean, but it's like we want to. There are times when we want to show you guys things that we're ready to show you. It's like we're not.
We're not holding back information because we want to be cruel about it. We're holding back information because sometimes things aren't ready, and we will of course share more as we continue on towards launch later this year. But we're going to be briefly switching out, well, not briefly, we're going to be, for the rest of the stream, we're going to be switching out Rich for another guest. We're going to be bringing in Adam, the game's executive producer. So I think until then, we're going to have you get a look at the very first species field guide of an old favorite, the Triceratops. So take it away.
The Triceratops is one of the most recognizable herbivores to ever have existed. It is best known for its trio of facial horns. These adornments are not just for display purposes. The brow horns in particular can inflict considerable damage to any dinosaur that dares to provoke it.
And we're back, and we are joined by another guest on the sofa, executive producer Adam Woods. I got your title right, didn't I?
You did, yeah, spot on.
Fantastic.
And our very first stream.
Yes.
We've never streamed together before.
You mentioned this before we began, that it's been about 2 years since you did a Jurassic World Evolution stream.
Yeah, I think it was my last live stream was the 24-hour Christmas extravaganza that normally gets put on. And I did it with Rich, which was my first live stream with him as well. So all these firsts just took 2 years. That's all. Or 18 months.
That's how it goes sometimes when you're, in the middle of everything 2020 and 2021.
Yeah, quite.
So
Quite.
yeah, since it's been 2 years since you last appeared on camera, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, I mean, I'm Adam Woods. I'm an executive producer here at Frontier and currently working on this rather incredible, little game called Jurassic World Evolution 2. Yeah, I've been here for just over 14 years now.
Wow.
So long in the tooth, perhaps. Lots of grey hair, missing hair from when I first started, but I'm still smiling.
You don't look it.
Thanks.
So
The old
if
charm
that,
of
if
you.
that helps. So yeah, Adam is here to talk a bit about dinosaurs with us. The main stars of the show are the dinosaurs. We have a lot of fan favorites making their return in Jurassic World Evolution 2. We're also introducing aquatic reptiles. We're bringing in more flying reptiles. Are you excited for marine and flying reptiles, Adam?
Very excited. Obviously, I get to see all of the ins and outs of the game, and without giving too much away, because we're not gonna today, it's incredible seeing what the team is producing upstairs. I say upstairs as in up in their respective offices.
Or at home.
Or
if
at
they're
home,
working
yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very exciting seeing it all coming together. They're quite an addition to the game, these flying and marine reptiles for sure.
Definitely, definitely. One thing I wanted to ask, and I think a lot of people are also asking the same question: how do you house flying and marine reptiles? I mean, we've already seen in the first game there was the aviary.
Yeah.
And I think if you've been paying attention to the screenshots that we put out, you can see an aviary-like structure.
Yeah.
In the for the second game as well.
Yeah.
So the aviary is making their return.
In a slightly more perhaps realised way. So it's no longer a single dome that you saw in Return to Jurassic Park. It's now a modular style of building. So it's a dome that can then be made bigger with attaching other domes around it, including a bespoke viewing gallery for it as well, and a hatchery, of course, to create the reptiles. Yeah, so very easy to build, quite big enclosures for them quite quickly. And also the landscape inside is fully customizable with all the tools as you would do the land dinosaurs. So all the needs, all the brushes, all the landscaping tools are all there. So you can create both the enclosure that the reptile needs, but also, with the players' artistic flair, as you were talking about before, some of the parks they managed to build are quite incredible, and those tools will be at the disposal for the players there as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be really happy to see that it's more than just the dome.
It's
They
absolutely.
can build it in different shapes and sizes. They can do things inside them, around them, all that cool stuff to add that little unique touch to their parks and to the aviary itself.
Yeah.
Has it been tricky to introduce these?
No, it's been a piece of cake. Absolutely, I've just been sat around twiddling my thumbs. No. Making games is hard. It's really hard. Yeah, it's a cliche because it's true, but it's a challenge that everyone on the team has risen to, and they've done an outstanding job so far. So it has been a challenge. It's been a challenge that everyone has wanted to take on, and they have achieved it. And I can't wait to see the player reaction of seeing these all in action. Yeah.
So Big Wolf Gamer in chat has a question about what happens when pteranodons escape, because previously they would just sort of fly away. Is there something more there that we can
tell
tease
you
or
that, Big
tell
Wolf
people
Gamer?
about?
You cheeky. No, I'm not. There is more. There is more to talk about in that area, should we say? But I'm not going to talk about it today.
All right. Okay. Well,
Maybe
I tried.
because then I'm only
I
going to keep
tried.
it back so you ask me back again. That's the only reason.
Yeah, we might
the
have
information back and I get to
Adam
come and
back
talk to you
at
again.
some point, so he can give us more information. So there are over, as Rich mentioned earlier, there are over 75 species in Jurassic World Evolution 2. How do you choose who to put in?
I pick all my favourite ones.
You just
I put them in,
have a big list,
and everything
just
else
like
gets thrown out. No, of course we start with the original game. Of course, there was a lot of species ended up in there. So we take a look at the rich history that we already have with that game. bringing across many fan favourites will be making a return. And then of course in terms of the flying reptiles and marine reptiles, there are some iconic ones such as the Pteranodon, of course. I think some eagle-eyed viewers have noticed that we've got a mosasaur in there. So it's kind of taking a look at what we want as a group of enthusiasts of Jurassic World franchise, listening to the community as well with the Amargasaurus, one of the new land dinosaurs. And of course we also saw the Coelophysis in the announcement trailer, which is all very good training for me to be able to pronounce these dinosaur names. Because before I joined the project, I could say Tyrannosaurus Rex, that was about it.
I was so confused the first time I saw the name Coelophysis.
Some of them are quite incredible.
Wait, how do... There's an O and an E there. That doesn't compute in my head into C.
I was about to say reveal a new dinosaur by saying, and then when I tried to pronounce this one, but I almost caught myself, so I'm not gonna. But yeah, so it's a case of looking at what we had, looking at what new land dinosaurs and what community requested ones had come through, and seeing what ones we could bring to realisation, and picking a few that obviously we're fans of as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we already saw one of the fan favorites, the Triceratops, the species field guide. There, you may have picked out some of the new colorations and skin patterns and everything, and we'll have more to talk about that at a later point. So we've, if you've gone to our website, you may have seen screenshots of dinosaurs like Triceratops, Brachiosaurus, Amargasaurus, Coelophysis, T-Rex, etc. What's been done to update these dinosaurs for Jurassic World Evolution 2?
So of course the new ones have been built from the ground up. We've also with the returning ones, we've taken a look at all of the details from them, including from the very start the model. The size. Have we got any better information about what sort of sizing we should have? If we take the Triceratops as the example, as I was saying, we look at the model, we look at the mesh. But then we take it to the next level as well and take another pass at the texturing and the detail in the scales and the skin. And as you were mentioning just before, the customization and the variety in both skin and pattern colors has dramatically increased over the original game. So there's a lot more options for the players to customize their dinosaurs as part of that genome modification process. But it doesn't just stop at the visuals, of course. We've looked at some of the behaviours, social interactions. Of course, we've got the dynamic fighting and hunting, which all add to a very more realistic and naturalistic looking dinosaur. So quite a breadth of updates for all dinosaurs.
Definitely.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
if you go back and you look at the Triceratops species field guide, there's some of those new behaviors in already, I believe, because you have the resting animation where the dinosaur will lie down on the ground.
Yeah, so we've got some of the preening kind of the sort of interaction with it and the environment around it. We're trying, and it's one of my most exciting parts of the game, is turning these, sort of quite scary, ominous-looking creatures.
I mean,
to being
the T-Rex
to being an animal. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Lions roar and they look scary, but they're animals as well. And I think that's what I'm really excited about, seeing how we've developed them into these kind of animals. That's the word I keep thinking about. It's an animal that just kind of ruffles itself on the ground to try and clean and preen, and they can interact with each other in these social kind of points and things. So yeah, it's really lovely.
I really like the in the Triceratops species field guide, I really like the head shake animation that one of them does. And there's also one where I'm not sure why I didn't notice it before, but it lifts its leg up and sort of stamps it into the ground. It almost looks like a threatening, like it's trying to ward someone off.
Like a little warning, yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, I hadn't noticed that until I watched it the 4th or 5th time or something. And I thought, yeah, that's like the small touches that I really like as a player.
Exactly, and it's an interesting point that the game is obviously, as Rich said, a dinosaur management simulation. So you kind of got a point of view of your overviewing, look at the park. But then when you dive down, you see all that detail, and you see the detail in the animations of the animals and things. It's quite incredible. Yeah, it's quite incredible what the animators have done.
And speaking of species field guides, It's been a joy to see all these new dinosaurs, but I think it's time that we maybe show one of the new dinosaurs in motion. So here is the next species field guide featuring Amargasaurus. Take it away.
Amargasaurus, one of the smaller members of the sauropods, continues to draw amazement thanks to its astonishing spinal spikes. These neural spines have been hypothesized as having many uses, but research is still ongoing.
Yes. Oh, we're back. Hello. I should pay more attention to our tech guy when he switches scenes in OBS.
Oh boy, am I glad all the spoilers I was just talking about weren't on the stream. Whew.
I did see someone in chat saying like, "Oh, they're deliberately holding stuff back from us." I mean, as we said earlier, some things we have to keep close to our chest for now, but the information will come out in due time. So that was the Amargasaurus species field guide, and I can see a lot of people. I mean, there's a Gorilla CMD says more in chat. Simone 0893 says, wow, which is great, fantastic. There's a lot of hype, a lot of, oh, look at that chunky boy. It's technically a chunky girl because the dinosaurs are gendered female, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Amargasaurus, the first of the new dinosaurs to get a species field guide.
Yeah.
It's a new sauropod. It's a herbivore. What can you tell us about the Amargasaurus?
It's my new favourite dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's taken over the #1 spot in my catalogue. I think obviously it's very distinctive with those rather large spines along its back of its neck. It is a herbivore though, so it's a bit more of a sort of a defence mechanism rather than a full-on attack. Quite a gentle, small giant because it is a sauropod, so it's a large dinosaur, but it's a compact one, should we say? And I think, as you can see from the guide itself, it's got a very cheeky kind of look to it. It's kind of slightly, the head is a certain proportion to its neck.
Yep.
I think it just looks a little compact, but I love it. I love the colouring, especially in the one that we've seen there with the spine colouring as well.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think it's a very, very welcome addition to Jurassic World Evolution 2.
I think the combination of sort of big and small is very interesting because, like you said, it's a sauropod, and so it's in sort of the same family, etc. And I'm not a biologist or paleontologist, so excuse me if I'm messing up any words or names here. But the Brachiosaurus is gigantic, and then you have the Amargasaurus cousin, which is still a big dinosaur compared to us, because it's like 10 meters tall, I think. But it's still it's bigger than me, but it's much smaller than some of its cousins, if you will.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very fun, interesting dichotomy to see in a dinosaur like this.
Yeah, quite a scale of sizes in that family family tree for sure.
I'd like to know if you're watching in chat what you feel about the Amargasaurus. Let us know, and we will read some of your responses. And keep an eye out for more species field guides as we go. There's going to be more of them in the future, and the species field guides that we have shown on the stream will be available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jurassic World Evolution, both for the Triceratops and for the Amargasaurus. So there's a lot of it looks really cool. She's beautiful. It's a gorgeous animal. So it is great. Mihail P14 says, "I love it." Master, it's too far away. I can't see.
I find the tiny head very cute. I didn't get the username there,
but
that's
lovely.
But yeah, that's kind of like one of the details. I love it. The slight kind of proportions of it. I think it tends to make it very cute looking.
Definitely,
I like that.
Definitely. And of course, you've probably seen this in the species field guides already, but there's a category for marine or aquatic, and there's a category for flying or air.
Yeah.
So we will of course have some species field guides for those types of reptiles as well. And I know for parts of our community it's very important to call them flying and marine reptiles instead of dinosaurs, because you know, distinctive species and animals. And
when I joined the project, I was very quickly brought up to speed on the importance of not getting dinosaurs. But I'm not going to lie, I do sometimes just go back and say dinosaurs.
It is pretty easy to sort of just lump them in together. I remember we did a Know Your Dino a few months ago, and it turned out to be the Pteranodon from the first game. And we had a lot of comments saying, this is not a dinosaur. But then if we'd called it Know Your Flying Reptile, it would have given it away immediately.
It would have been a bit easier.
Everyone
just
would just
know
go,
your
it's a
blank.
Pteranodon.
There you go, yeah.
So the last thing I think we should talk about is the very first feature focus that has come out, and it's a big one, but it's a lot of information there about dinosaur acquisition, dinosaur management. So let's talk a bit about that. So in certain modes, you're still bioengineering dinosaurs. That hasn't necessarily changed in the grand scheme of things, but we've improved the process in several ways. So you can, for example, create dinosaurs in batches in your hatcheries. Can you explain a bit more about this?
Absolutely. So it all starts obviously with DNA, and you still need to send out your expedition teams to find that DNA, get enough of the genome sequence ready for actual trying to synthesize. You will be able to apply modifications to that genome as you see fit. We'll probably talk a little bit more about some of those details in the future. And then once you're ready to go, you then we have 2 stages before you actually release dinosaurs or reptiles now. The first stage is synthesizing these eggs, at which point you can then synthesize, or depending on the species, different number of eggs will be synthesized at one time. And then depending on how many are viable at the end of that stage, you can take them on to incubation, and then ultimately that's when you're releasing these mature, ready dinosaurs and reptiles into your park through your various hatcheries.
Yeah, and as you probably saw in the Amargasaurus species field guide, we had a small clip in there with 2 Amargasaurus being released at the same time. And I think also, I believe it's in Game Informer's write-up about the preview you gave them. There might be a GIF or 2 of some Amargasaurus coming out at the same time. Shout out to Andrew Reiner and his Twitter feed, where I think he also posted some of those GIFs. So if you haven't seen them, feel free to hunt them down and take a look.
Especially the Amargasaurus release feeds back into that sort of playful nature. You know, you'll see it when you go and have a look. You'll know what I'm talking about. But it is lovely. So yeah, that's an example of a slightly larger species having two eggs able to be synthesized, incubated, and then ultimately released. And species will change, like I said before, depending on their species, how many you can do at once. Yeah.
And of course, there's been a lot of questions about juvenile dinosaurs, baby dinosaurs. There are no plans for juvenile dinosaurs or baby dinosaurs. They will be raised to maturity, to adulthood, before you release them into your parks. So we want to give you the full-grown dinosaur experience, as it were, as they're released. Another thing that I find really interesting, and I think is a great upgrade from the first game, is the ability to now do dinosaur release via airlift.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can just sort of split your enclosures and your hatcheries at the same time.
Yeah, I think it was a quite highly requested community feature. It's a great quality of life addition to the sequel, and you can now, as you say, Jens, you can decide to either release it within an enclosure that's part of that hatchery, or you can choose the airlift option and perhaps move it to another one. So that gives you a bit of flexibility on how you're setting your park up. Perhaps you haven't got the most amount of money. It means you can kind of run with just one hatchery with multiple enclosures. So it adds a lot more flexibility at different stages of your park building career.
Carrot Scrap says, yes, this is the feature I really wanted, so that's excellent. We have at least one player who says, yes, this is great, this is great. So tick for that, absolutely. And of course, there are some modes where there will be some wild dinosaurs sent to your parks as well. Yeah,
so not only do you, or will you be able to, in certain modes, create dinosaurs from the DNA that you can find, or from the dig sites. There will be certain events, certain narrative events, and certain other trigger points throughout different modes that means the player will then have to deal with live dinosaurs that are going to be transported in to your into your park. So that adds another different way of managing these live dinosaurs, bringing them into the enclosures, making sure they're set up and ready to go. So yeah, excited to see how that plays out with the players in these events.
And it also ties. That's what I was looking for. It also ties into the theming around the game being set after the events and inspired by the events of Fallen Kingdom, where
exactly.
dinosaurs come out into the wild.
Yeah, it's a very different world.
Yes,
as
a world evolved, you might say.
Jeff said in the announcement trailer, it was a very different world out there now.
Yeah,
it'll be exciting.
So a big new feature that we talked about in the feature focus are dinosaur territories. I was wondering if you could talk a bit about that.
Yes, so as part of the realistic dinosaurs area that we're looking at, obviously they are, as we've said, the heart of the game and the stars of the show. We've added a dynamic territory system into the dinosaurs. So now when they're released or put into an enclosure, they will start to claim territory within that enclosure based on their needs. So it's not just an arbitrary kind of claiming. Different species will have different size of territory that they need to try to maintain, and they'll seek out their needs. So, for example, the Triceratops will need water. I think it needs some forest cover, those kind of needs, and it will seek within its nearby vicinity to find these things. The territory will also expand and shrink over time. So you'll start to notice that they sort of almost patrol the edges of their territory, trying to keep it at the size that they need, as well as joining up with any of the same species. So two trikes would form together a slightly bigger territory. So that's quite an interesting feature to show a slightly more natural or realistic, perhaps, behaviours of these magnificent animals.
Midoriki in chat says, the territory system seems really cool. Will it change the population and social systems from the first game?
Yes, because of course, it's what sort of their needs are driving their territory, and part of that is the social side of things. So yeah, we should see quite a change.
And we'll have more to share about this stuff in the future, of course. I saw a very cute username in chat that I just want to shout out. Spinosaur the Dinosaur with a Y in Spinosaur. So I just wanted to give them a bit of a shout out.
That's a fair shout out. That's worthy.
So moving on a little bit, there's Paleobotany is now a very big feature. We introduced it in the original game with the Claire Sanctuary DLC, but now it's a core feature, especially for when you're housing your herbivores. So I'm assuming they work together with the territory stuff. Yeah.
So herbivores need feeding. We don't have the herbivore feeder anymore. We have these Paleobotany plants, these prehistoric extinct plants that we've brought back to life. We've reimagined them for the sequel, and you now basically you'll have understanding of what the herbivores need, and then you'll use these paleo plants and brushes to place them within the enclosure, obviously ideally within their territories as well, which you'll be able to view at the same time, to provide food for your herbivores. So yeah, creating quite a more realistic as 65 billion years ago we can imagine, but realistic and natural kind of enclosures, and perhaps some very interesting enclosures. If it's big enough, perhaps you can try what a herbivore and a carnivore may get along with or not.
Yeah, that was actually going to be one of my follow-up questions, because that is a question that we've gotten a lot from players. Like, does that mean if I have a big enough enclosure, can I keep these different kinds of dinosaur together?
In theory, if you can manage it well enough, yes. They will build and they'll be happy within their territories. You might find some little areas of contention perhaps, but yeah, I think, as I was saying before, the kind of the animal side of the dinosaurs I'm particularly interested in feeds into how they're going to be enclosed and how this territory works. So I'm really interested to see what kind of enclosures players will build with these new tools, with the territory system and the Paleobotany.
Definitely, I think it'll be very, very interesting. And I think I know there's also certain dinosaurs that sort of cohabitate better than others. I assume a lot of herbivores will generally get along, but maybe there'll be some infighting or overlapping here and there. Who knows?
Absolutely. Well, we'll find out. We do surface quite a bit of information to the player to understand how to sort of build a harmonious enclosure. But there's always going to be people that want to see what happens when the power gets taken down and all the fences are out of action, right?
Exactly.
Who knows?
That might happen. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? So we've talked a bit about we talked about Triceratops. We talked about paleobotany. We mentioned earlier a little bit about the animation work and behaviors. And what do I got in my notes here? I don't think I have anything else in my notes actually. But
I've been grilled and I passed the test, did I?
You absolutely
Thankfully.
did. You absolutely did. But yeah, I think we've pretty much run towards the end of the stream here. Let me just check my notes. I've got a lot of notes here that I need to double check. Stalling for time. All right, I think if we have a few minutes, we can probably take some questions from take a couple of questions from chat.
This is where it all goes off script, and I'm not sure what you're going to ask me now.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We shall see. We shall see. I'm sorry if I scraped my microphone or tapped my microphone there.
Zip.
Now it's happening. Now it's happening.
Oh, there we go. We've got to get past the microphone.
Yeah, sorry about the mic problem. Sorry. I see there's obviously a lot of questions about things like Camp Cretaceous content, and we don't really have anything to announce with regards to Camp Cretaceous content. We think it's a really cool show, but we don't have anything to announce regarding Camp Cretaceous content in Jurassic World Evolution 2. Dio,
how do you house the aquatics?
Dio Kiryu asks, what are you most excited for? I mean, we asked Rich earlier, what are you most excited for?
I'm most excited about seeing these animals in their enclosures and seeing that natural side of them. That's certainly what I'm most intrigued by. Bringing these dinosaurs to life in a as realistic way as we can. And seeing a reaction to it, of course, that's always the most exciting thing. As Rich was saying before, we obviously announced, and that was quite a feeling after being on a project quietly for so long, and suddenly being able to go, yep, it's here, and kind of watching it happening live and seeing people being like, oh my God, is it going to be Jurassic World Evolution 2? Is that actually going to happen? And then Jeff appeared and I was like, it's got to be, surely. So that was quite exciting after all this time.
I remember seeing Best in Slot making a YouTube video saying that he was so sure that if we were going to announce Jurassic World Evolution 2, that he would burn his sloth cuddly toy if we didn't announce the game.
Oh my gosh.
And he would film it and put it on camera.
Thank goodness we didn't need to do that.
Yeah, thank good. So I see a lot of questions in chat about aquatic reptiles.
Just once or twice.
We are not really talking more about aquatic reptiles today, unfortunately, but you will, of course, hear more about it in the future. Release date, we haven't announced yet. We haven't announced anything with regards to pre-orders as well, just to sort of get that out of the way. And if you're asking if this is a pre-recorded stream, it is not. We are currently 100% live.
I don't know how, I was like holding up a newspaper or something. I don't know how to sort of show, but no, it's definitely here. I couldn't even give you the date because I could have put that pre-recorded as well, couldn't I?
No, it is,
I'm afraid.
I don't have my watch on me, so I can't.
I'll tweet straight after this. I'll be like, hi, here it is.
It is the 25th.
Yeah.
But I don't have it. All right. So, there's so many questions just coming around. How are you guys doing today? I'm doing really well. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm always nervous pre-stream, especially after so long. But it's lovely to be talking about it, and kind of you feel like you're unleashed and ready to talk about the game for after a while. So I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm a little bit tired as well, but I think we all are, right?
I'm pretty good. It's been busy, but I'm pretty good. There was an interesting question I saw just now, and if, because the herbivores will be eating plants off the ground, they'll be eating stuff off the trees, and I'm assuming that stuff is going to stay there when they keep eating. It's not like you're going to have to replant all those.
No, currently the
greeneries.
system is you plant it down and it takes the form of plants can sort of regrow themselves anyway. So that's the sort of the mentality behind that. Yeah, you will need to obviously make sure you balance what paleo plants are in your enclosures when we're talking about the dinosaurs that can live together, particularly in the herbivore things. If you have Triceratops and Brachios together, for example, obviously they'll just by their size will have very different plant needs, so you need to balance it. But yeah.
So there's a question here from, it's a bit of a poor username, unfortunately. Idiot on duty. I'm sure you're not an idiot.
Oh, no.
But so there's, I believe Rich mentioned it briefly in an interview he did with Twitch last week, that we've been looking into, redoing some fight mechanics, hunting animations, and all that stuff. So there's a question here from poor idiot on duty saying, will other herbivores help each other to fight carnivores or to defend each other? You probably can't get into too much of that, but it's an interesting question, I feel.
It is an interesting question. That is correct. And if you're asking, have we looked at how the fighting system works in Jurassic World Evolution 2, then yes, we have looked at improving that area with some more of the dynamic fighting and whatnot. Details are on the horizon, shall we say.
All right, and I think we're going to call it there on that little bitty tease. So thank you everyone in chat for joining us for the first monthly spotlight stream for Jurassic World Evolution 2. And we will be doing these monthly wrap-up streams at the end of every month going forward to recap and talk about and have a bit of fun with all the news and announcements that we have revealed from the month that's gone by. So if you'd like to come back in about a month's time, we would love to have you here. And at the on our forums on the final day of every month, there's a lot of stuff happening in the future. We're also going to be posting some write-ups with links to articles and to videos and a bunch of other stuff as well, wrapping up everything that's been happening. So stay tuned for that. But until then, we are going to be signing off, and we will definitely see you at the end of July. And thank you very much to you, Adam, for
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to Rich for joining us. Shout out to the mods in chat. Thank you to Heather very, very much for joining us. Thank you to Tim for managing the boards behind the scenes and making sure that the stream is running like clockwork. And we will see you guys in about a month. And until then, fare thee well.
Bye.